Evander Holyfield just got goosebumps after sparring with Mike Tyson. Apparently, Tyson is still the toughest rival he's ever faced, with that ear-biting incident from 1997 still haunting him. The bottom line here? Jake Paul is not going to win. Let's be real, he's going to lose, and lose badly. I'll be direct with my opinion, no, Jake Paul is not going to win. I've trained with him, so I know firsthand the guy doesn't have what it takes to take down a monster. It just doesn't add up. It really says something when even Evander Holyfield, a legend in boxing, talks about how strong Tyson still is. Holyfield knows Tyson's power better than most, so if he says Tyson is still powerful, that's a big deal. Tyson's strength isn't something to joke about, and it looks like everyone agrees on that. Many other famous boxers think Jake Paul doesn't stand a chance if he steps into the ring with Tyson. They believe Tyson would easily win, maybe even in the first few punches. These boxing legends think Jake would get beaten badly, comparing him to ground beef, showing just how tough Tyson still is compared to the younger fighter. But Jake Paul is stubborn and doesn't seem to be backing down. He's confident and still wants to face Tyson, even with all the warnings. Maybe he thinks he can handle it, or maybe he just wants to prove everyone wrong. Either way, if Jake goes through with it, he'll get to feel Tyson's powerful punches for himself. Holyfield and Tyson are two names that every boxing fan knows. Their rivalry was legendary, and fans will always remember their intense fights. Now, Holyfield is speaking up about Tyson's power, saying he's still as strong as ever. Coming from someone who knows Tyson's strength firsthand, this is a big statement. It seems like Holyfield might even feel a little worried for Jake Paul. But let's be real. Jake is asking for this fight, so it's hard to feel too bad for him. He's confident, but facing Tyson could be a rough experience. And Holyfield knows just how hard Tyson can punch. Jake is stepping into something that might be more than he can handle. So, here's to whatever comes next for Jake Paul if he faces Tyson. Imagine seeing these two boxing legends, Holyfield and Tyson, back in action, training with that same fire they had years ago. Just watching their power and skill would probably make any wannabe fighter a bit nervous. I mean, would you want to step in the ring after seeing those two? Probably not. And then there's Jake Paul. Honestly, if anyone's asking to be roasted in the ring, it's him. Jake's got a lot of confidence, but let's face it, he's not exactly Tyson or Holyfield. Watching him go up against someone like Tyson might be a lesson he didn't ask for, but it sure seems like he's heading that way. Jake Paul is like a perfect example of what's wrong with boxing these days. Here's a guy who thinks he can become a real boxer just by having some flashy fights, creating fake arguments, and picking opponents he knows he can beat. He acts like that's all it takes to be taken seriously in the ring. But let's be honest, that's not really how it works. Now, Jake might actually believe he's ready for someone like Mike Tyson. But the truth is, Tyson has been in real fights with real champions, not just social media stars. Tyson isn't one of those hand-picked fighters who'll go easy on him. When Jake steps into that ring, he might be in for a reality check like no other. Because man, just look at this. Let's take a quick look at why Jake Paul thinking he could fight Mike Tyson is just a bit ridiculous. First, Tyson's career is all about destroying his opponents. He didn't get famous for dancing around the ring or picking easy fights. He went in and knocked people out. Tyson's punches were like sledgehammers, and he built a career on pure power. Now, if you want some numbers, here they are. Tyson has 50 wins. Out of those, 44 were knockouts. And these weren't just regular knockouts. These were the kind where his opponents were left lying on the mat, probably wondering how they ended up there. Tyson didn't just beat people. He made them regret stepping into the ring with him. Sure, Tyson may be 58, but he doesn't seem to age like the rest of us. His recent training videos are a chilling reminder that you never really lose that inner beast. His punches still look powerful enough to smash through walls, and his footwork? Far from the slow, careful steps you'd expect from an older guy. It's still fast and sharp, nothing short of impressive. Jake Paul might call himself a boxer, but Tyson is in a different league entirely. Tyson is a force of nature, a storm in the ring that doesn't just fight, he dominates. And here's the kicker. Jake actually thinks he can keep up with this legend. It's almost funny, really. Meanwhile, Holyfield, at 62, still looks stronger and sharper than Jake Paul could even imagine. On his best day, Jake isn't in the same league as Holyfield, who's not some relic of the past, but a true legend. Holyfield's iron will and unmatched experience aren't things you can buy, no matter how many views Jake might get on his YouTube videos. This man was the undisputed heavyweight and cruiserweight champ, not some viral sensation looking for attention through controversy. Holyfield's career is built on skill and grit, not on trying to stay relevant online. Watching him spar with Tyson was like seeing two titans clash, each bringing the same fire and intensity that made them legends. Now, compare that to Jake Paul, who's made his career by cashing in on the sport's credibility to fuel his clout-chasing circus. Can you picture him in the same ring as these legends? It doesn't exactly look promising, does it? The sparring sessions between Tyson and Holyfield were on a whole different level. Tyson still moves with a speed and power that seem like they belong to someone half his age. His famous peekaboo style? Just as intimidating as ever. Every move is sharp, and every punch still lands with that familiar force. And let's be real, Jake Paul wouldn't last long enough to even dream of a highlight reel moment. Tyson's stamina and skill are far beyond anything Jake's faced. When Joe Rogan, a guy who's seen it all in combat sports, says Tyson's power is still terrifying, you know it's no joke. Jake Paul will not win this. I'd end this podcast if that ever happens. But since it's not going to, I'm going to keep roasting him, said Rogan on his latest podcast. Lennox Lewis, another all-time great, seems to be counting down the days, probably hoping Tyson will knock that smug grin right off Jake's face, and in the most poetic way possible. I doubted this match at first because I knew Jake Paul wouldn't last long, but sometimes a lesson in respect is necessary. Jake needs to understand his place and stop challenging people, especially someone like Iron Mike. Jake Paul, with his usual arrogance, thinks he's ready for this fight. Maybe his fanboys are buying into it, but everyone else knows he's way out of his league. Let's not forget, Tyson's training isn't some casual effort. Under the guidance of Rafael Cordo, Tyson's coach, he's hitting the pads with the intensity of someone who's fighting for his life. Tyson's defense drills, counterpunching routines, and conditioning work are grueling. This isn't just an older guy staying in shape. This is a fighter gearing up for war. Tyson's focus and preparation are on another level. If Jake wants to survive this, he should cancel everything else and start practicing how to get back up after a knockout. Because when Tyson lands that punch, Jake will be facing a reality check like no other. Every day we're doing drills for Iron Mike. I'm honestly surprised he can keep up with our regimen. The guy was a beast. And I can say with full confidence, he's still a beast. Nothing's changed, said Cordo, Tyson's coach. Despite Tyson's age, some fans are genuinely concerned about his health, pointing to the harsh aftermath of Muhammad Ali's later fights as a warning. Sure, there's a 31-year age gap between Tyson and Jake, but do you think that matters to Mike? Not in the slightest. Tyson's been hearing the concerns from boxing legends like Oscar De La Hoya and Dana White, who sound more worried about Jake than Tyson. De La Hoya even went as far as to say Tyson would crush Jake without breaking a sweat. And honestly, he's not wrong. Tyson's power and skill are as sharp as ever, and Jake is in for a tough wake-up call. Sure, Mike is 58, that's true. But has Jake ever considered how those years have shaped him? Those are years of experience, of wisdom. You can't just brush it off as getting old. The older he gets, the wiser and stronger he becomes. So, yeah, the odds are definitely stacked against Jake Paul. But can he pull off a miracle and beat Iron Mike? Or will we watch Tyson knock him out cold? Let me know what you think in the comments below.